And did that start recording? Yes, it did.
All right,
so
welcome
we're all
back.
good. Yeah, back after a week. You know,
Standard amount of time to wait.
of course. You know, it happens. Yeah, because we're too lazy to put out anything else.
The amount of effort in this is so extensive.
Yeah, we've gotten it down to such minimal effort.
Yeah, about 10 minutes setup time.
Yeah,
2-minute breakdown time.
yeah.
I don't know how it works, but it does.
Yeah, yeah. You know, if we were more driven people, that would definitely we'd have more time to actually like produce other stuff and do other things. But you know,
Yeah, it's most of the time I'd rather just sit at home and drink by myself than
that's true.
do something productive.
Which we should probably get on. We will eventually.
We'll get there.
It'll happen.
It's my fake solemn promise, but it'll happen.
Yeah, so I guess we're gonna just continue our trend from last week. As far as checking out some of the news
What's
articles.
that? Screen ranting, screen rant?
Screen ranting, screen rant. And you know, seeing what I think the curating of articles this week are not as egregious as they were last week. Some of them actually are pretty okay. I think we got some ridiculous ones, but just some we could speculate on and whatnot. Let's see. So we are going to start. Oh my god, screwed that up a little bit. That's all right. So there we go. We're gonna start with what we got here today. First thing we got, which this one I was actually surprised about, that Marvel came out, I guess, 2 days ago. Marvel canceled Howard the Duck and then Tiger and Dazzler, which, I mean, Tiger and Dazzler I really could care less about. But I'm kind of upset that Howard the Duck is getting canceled. You know, Kevin Smith was show running it. He was writing it. It seemed to be going well. It was, you know, everything as far as I haven't been paying attention too much to Kevin Smith lately just because he hasn't been putting that much stuff out. But, I mean, from the last updates we got about it, it was still being done. It was still being made, and that was a couple months ago.
Maybe he put another one of those sex scenes in where Howard the Duck has sex with his friend. And they were like, Disney was like, or Marvel was like, well, nah, I don't think that we are allowed to have ducks fucking humans like we did in 1984.
Well, he didn't do that. I know that he said he wasn't doing that.
Well, then shame on you, Kevin, because I would have watched that.
I mean, it was supposed to be for more of a mature audience, obviously, because you have Kevin Smith writing it. But they were kind of doing more of like what the comics are doing, where it's like he's a legitimate detective in these weird ass situations, you know, that's stranded on Earth and not in his dimension, or his Earth or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of weird that they all of a sudden canceled. It was supposed to be coming out like I think fairly soon. I think sometime this year it was supposed to be coming out. Or was initially slated to.
I don't have the details. I just knew that it was happening, and I was happy.
Yeah, and I don't know. They're keeping MODOK, which I think we talked about last week.
We did. I mean, I don't see a major reason for a MODOK show. I mean, I love Patton Oswalt.
I don't really
hilarious.
know much about MODOK, to be honest.
I mean, he's a giant floating head with tiny arms and legs, right? And he's the advanced idea mechanic leader.
Right.
He's a villain of Iron Man.
So there's really not much. I mean,
he's a villain of anyone who goes up against the advanced idea mechanics, but
yeah,
he has been a main villain of someone like Iron Man for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't see him being such a worthy enough character that needs headlining, if you will. I'm sure Patton Oswalt could do something interesting with it because Patton's pretty awesome.
If I'm not mistaken, he's also more of like a goofy comic character. Like he's not,
there's no reason you would make him a giant head with tiny arms and legs.
Yeah, he's not a serious character, right?
Like when his machine breaks down and he falls on the ground and he can't get up and he's kicking his arms and legs. Like that's obviously for humor's sake.
Yeah. So I think they're trying to do more of a comedy thing with it, which is fine. But like, I don't know. Like,
And AIM's always been a joke. Like, even in the bad guy world, people have been like, really, AIM?
Yeah. No, I even remember
the guys that all wear the
games.
same yellow suits.
Yeah, I remember. Like, yeah, exactly. Like I think in like the Deadpool game, AIM's in it, and they like it's a whole big joke. The Avengers game, AIM's in it. Like they're a big joke. I know that. But like, I don't know. It's kind of the same way I feel about when they like this Harley Quinn show and like all this. It's just like, why? Like, they're supporting characters. They're supporting characters for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's like I didn't keep up with the Harley Quinn show, but like she's good when she's a supporting role. And I don't read her comic book that's out now. I guess it's pretty good, or it was for a while when it first ran. I don't know now, but like comic books are different than TV shows. Like it's tough to have a side character like that or a supporting character get their own show and be able to sustain it. It just doesn't work the same way, and it's just it's easier with a comic book to transition a supporting character into that,
because you can constantly throw the other people.
Yeah, and you can use it as a companion to the whatever the main thing is, and so it's I don't know, it's different. It's not as easy, and I think MODOK is a weird choice for that to keep. Howard the Duck is kind of his own thing and his own character, his own universe, kind of basically, and it's
like Dazzler. I could see a show being made for, but that show's not for us. That show's show is for girls,
for little girls. Yeah. Tiger and Dazzler. It's meant for little girls. It's supposed to be my guess is it was probably supposed to be their answer to DC's superhero girl show, whatever that is.
Oh yeah, that cartoon.
The cartoon. It's probably somewhat, maybe not that, maybe for a little bit of an older audience,
but yeah.
But like, it's meant for girls. It's meant for young girls.
Yeah, because she's always 10, been a modern pop star. And when she first came out in the 70s, she was a disco star.
Yeah.
In the 90s, she was becoming a pop star.
Right.
And, blah, blah. So right now, it would probably end up being like dubstep, techno,
whatever it is,
pop music, or like Taylor Swift. You know? Like, in fact, if it was a live action, they picked someone like Taylor Swift to play Dazzler, I would be more inclined to watch it, honestly.
Yeah,
because that would be cool. Would be cool.
Because you could do a live action show. Yeah. You could, honestly, if Marvel was smart with Dazzler, they'd make it live action and they'd make it like a musical show.
What they could have done was taken the show Heroes and then the show that Hayden Panettiere, that show she did after Heroes where she was a country singer, and just put those two shows together.
That's what I mean.
There's Nashville. There's Dazzler.
Yeah, I think it was Nashville, or whatever. But like, you could do that. You could make a show where it's almost a High School Music, even if you do it for like, because that one's more for like a 20s audience, 20s, 30s, like house moms and stuff. So like, you would want to do more like a High School Musical version of it, but still, like if you took like not High School Musical, Glee.
Yeah, so you take Glee and throw superpowers.
Exactly, that's exactly what they should be doing with something like Dazzler. If that's what they want to make, they should be doing a live action and doing it like a Glee thing. Versus,
there would be so many more.
Oh, it'd be huge.
Like people going to jail and people dying if it was actually set in a high school, and it's people
not
had
uncommon
powers.
to do it because Riverdale does it. Where they have random musical numbers all the time in it. So they even started doing it on Sabrina. Like the new season that came out, which by the way, it's fucking awesome. For whatever reason, I've watched like 5 of the episodes. Almost every single one has a musical number in it. Like they should do something like that versus with that character. I mean,
and I would rather that than a cartoon.
Yeah, like what's the cartoon? The cartoon,
especially visually,
you're gonna make it. It's gonna be like Gem, like
sound,
and
projects it.
You're basically making a Gem cartoon. Like, you're making Gem in the holograms. Yeah, like it just doesn't. I don't know. I'm more upset about Howard the Duck because I think
So the question is here, though, on this article, is there anything egregious for why it got canceled? Is there
There's
any
nothing.
mention?
They're just saying there's no information about it. It's just saying that they're just saying. Basically,
I got a text from fellow executive producer.
We have no plans for the characters at this time.
This doesn't necessarily mean that it's canceled. It's just that they don't have plans for it. So is it really canceled or is it on hold?
No, it means that it's going to be put. It's going to sit in production. Whatever. They're not putting money towards it. They're not going to do anything with it. They're just not doing anything with the property. It's getting put in the vault, and it's sitting there, and they're not doing anything. That's what that means.
So not an article worth reading because there's no information.
There's nothing. There's nothing there, and that's not their fault. They just don't have, they're just not saying anything. Which this can mean one of two things. Either they just it wasn't tracking it as far as like what they were coming out with, because they were writing it. I think they were they were either heading to animation or they were writing it. They're writing the scripts. I know that. Or it was just it was. I mean, I don't know if Kevin Smith has come out and said anything yet. But you know what? Let's check. Let's see.
What was the reasoning? Do you remember why they canceled the Deadpool cartoon?
I think it had to do creative differences between what's his face, Donald Glover and Disney.
Donald Glover was going to be in it?
He was the one doing it.
Okay.
I don't know if he was playing Deadpool or not. Here we go. Alas, Howard the Duck remains tripped in a world never made. Thanks, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Not for me. So he hasn't said anything about it. So he's, I'm sure we'll find out the reasonings. If there's anything weird about it, we'll find, like, for the reason if it was creative differences or whatever, in about 6 months, if that, we'll find out from Kevin Smith. Because he, as much as I love him,
he's not going to come out and speak.
No, he will. That's my point. He has no problem blasting and coming out and being honest about, these types of situations for the most part, unless it's something that could get him in trouble. So if it was something that, my guess is within a few months he'll come out and say, it was just creative differences or this or that or whatever. Or no, it was just, that's what it was. You wait another 6-12 months, someone will ask him about it again. And then he'll come out and say more. And, he has no problems, saying what the issues were, given time. So we'll find out. We'll find out when he, starts doing his shows and stuff on YouTube again and whatnot. So I don't know. My guess is probably creative differences, or it was just budgetary. I think Marvel and all of them are trying to cut back on a lot of things, or just Disney in general. I think they tried biting off a little more than they can chew with a lot of these properties, and I think they're cutting back on a lot of them.
It's like they're like, all right, well, you 15, we got a new project. You take this one. You 15 take these. You 15 take these. We have so much stuff. We got to get it done.
I'm just shocked.
And then they're like, oh wait, we don't have the time to do this.
Yeah, and I'm just shocked that they, because Kevin Smith's been on an upswing recently, so I'm shocked that they canceled his show, because this would have brought his entire audience over. I mean, granted, his audience is going to be watching a lot of this stuff anyway, but it would have brought over dedicated fans to the show,
whether it was good or not.
Right. People would have been
like if Kevin
it.
Smith was doing this new Harley Quinn show, I would probably still watch it, even if it was still something I didn't like.
Yeah.
Just because it's Kevin Smith, and I know there's going to be little things in there that I'm going to pick up on. I'm going to go, yeah.
Because I mean, especially with him, like, none of even his worst stuff isn't like what people think. I'm a huge fan. I love all his movies. He's my favorite director.
Cop Out. Everyone
hates Cop Out. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it. Jersey Girl. Everyone rips on. I think Jersey Girl is just a great rom-com, date night film. Like all of his movies, I like. To me, none of his movies are so egregiously bad that you're not going to enjoy them. Even if it's just, dumb laughs stuff. Because not all of his movies are fucking Chasing Amy or Clerks. They're not all at that level, but it's just what it is. So I'm just shocked that's what they decided to cancel. But it is what it is, I guess. They're doing other weird stuff. They got rid of the director for Captain Marvel, the first director for Captain Marvel. She's gone. They're like cleaning house on a whole lot of shit, which is I don't know.
It's probably for the better though.
Maybe
because some of this stuff, there's so much content slated to come out in such a short amount of time,
and they're adding more. That's the weirdest part. I feel like I feel like they Jesus, I can't remember. But I don't know. They pulled the wool out of from under us with adding all this extra content at D23 and whatnot when they came out with all the other stuff. And I think without I don't know where I'm going with this. Never mind. I don't know. I was going somewhere with it.
Also not the point.
Yeah. Yeah. Either way. They're doing this across the board, it seems like, between them, Marvel, and on the Star Wars side. They're cutting back a lot on Star Wars. And I think, I don't know. We'll see what happens with all these changes that they're doing. It's just upsetting. But let's see. What else we got for this week that came out? We got this one that Warwick Davis came out, said that the Willow series has not been greenlit yet, which, again, this is something that, I'm mad at this article for a specific reason. And it's because when the news came out about this, that it was being made, it wasn't that it was being made. The fact that the news that came out was that they were in development. Now, when you're in development, what does that mean? It means they're writing scripts, they're pitching ideas, they're thinking about casting, they're trying to figure out if it can work or not, trying to come up with budgets. It's not that it's getting made. Movies sit in development hell, they call it, for years and years and years at a time. There's tons of movies that, we waited. You look at the New Mutants movie. You know what I mean? That movie was supposed to come out a year and a half ago, and now supposedly it's coming out in a couple months.
Put out a new trailer.
Yeah.
Well, even the Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse, that movie took 5 years.
Yeah, that's that.
Just after it was just to create it, so not even in terms of
that's animation.
What it was. Yeah, but that's a movie that's
production
sat in development for a long time, and we didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
And then when they were talking about it, it still took basically 5 years to come out. So that's why I hate these sites that give out such clickbait.
Exactly.
Because
and now
I didn't need to know that there was a Willow series in development, but as soon as I saw it, I got excited. And now they're saying, "Oh, it doesn't have the green light
and now they have a nice article, a second article. They get a follow-up article of, oh well, he's coming out and saying it's not green lit. It's like, yeah, because all of you assholes went out there and told everybody that they're making Willow. We're making Willow, knowing damn well that they weren't. They're not. No one says they're making Willow. They're just in development to see if they can make Willow. But
if you've ever seen the TV show Life's Too Short with Warwick Davis, that's a stunt that he would pull in the show,
right? Playing
himself, right? To be like, oh, if I get enough people to talk about it, then I'll have a career again. Which would have been hilarious if it was part of that show.
And it's really funny to tie it back to Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith does that. He just says if we're doing he just says we're doing it
if it
so
picks
it
up
will
enough
be
steam, like Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool movie.
Yeah, he did. Whatever, that same thing. But this isn't one of those things. This is a studio definitively coming out and not telling. It's not like they're not playing those games that directors and this and that and people who are their own creatives do. This is a studio who, came out and said, yeah, we're in development on this, probably from trades or whatever, and they're trying to sell it to the general public, and now they can piss the general public off.
Yeah, but it's also one of those. It's really annoying, like the times that we live in, of how information is so accessible.
Yeah.
That, like, if we had this version of the internet and data access 30 years ago, I wonder how many movies we would have been like, oh, they're gonna make this movie, and then they never got made, because it's always happening. There's always going to be things in development. There's always all that stuff that never got made and stuff that did get made but we'll never see.
Oh yeah, there's tons of them.
But we'll never know about the majority of them. And now it's like, because someone had it written on a piece of paper and it crossed someone's desk and it got hands, someone typed it up and put it on the internet.
Yeah.
And they announced it. And this is not necessarily about this in general.
Right,
but
right.
Everything. Oh, yeah. This is happening.
Oh, absolutely.
A source close to the actor said this is happening.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it is.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing with Disney and the Obi-Wan show, and the fact that you have, it's coming out more now. We talked about it last week about how bullshit this all stuff is, because this stuff happens. And again, they're coming out. They put out new stories saying, "Oh, well, they're holding it back and they're pushing it back." Yes, because Ewan McGregor has scheduling conflicts. Yes, because Mandalorian did so well, and they want to make sure that it fucking does just as good as The Mandalorian. Of course they're holding it back. Like that, I don't understand. How is this news? Like,
it's not,
I mean,
it's not
I get
news.
like,
it's
like, I guess it's like I know it's salacious and it's oh my god, like it's just it's meant to stir up controversy. But like, people are smarter than this crap.
Are they?
I feel like they are.
We're here talking about it specifically because people are believing this stuff.
I know, but like, I feel I should say I feel like people should be smarter than, because it's not like this stuff wasn't talked about prior. Like you're saying, like with the 30 years ago, like this kind of information would have been at like Willow's going into development.
Around.
That stuff goes into the trades. People talk about it. News outlets report on that stuff, but they didn't report on it on this is getting made.
Well, also they didn't have a million other sites.
We're gonna see what happens with this movie.
That they could post it on their personal blog.
Yeah,
people didn't have blogs or vlogs.
Well, I mean, now people
like
just make shit up.
So
I mean, there was so much it's made up with the Star Wars and the Star Wars leaks and all that stuff, that people were legitimately just fabricating information, saying that they had inside sources. Like, they were talking about all these like test screenings and all that stuff, and like people who actually have sources at Disney were like, no, none of this stuff is true. This is all lies. No one has, these people have no idea what they're talking about. There's tons of people, even in the YouTube community, that do that shit. These places, superhero hype. But the problem is, these guys then get those stories from them and play it off as it's real news. That's the shit. That's the craziest part about it. They play off each other and all. It's like this weird, crazy case of telephone.
Yeah. That
just keeps getting. And it's just bullshit. It's made up stories that just keep getting, rumor mills that they don't care that they're creating them. And, the shitty part is, a lot of times some of these things really mess up some of the actors, especially like casting rumors. Like like Robert Pattinson was talking about it. He's like, that almost made me not want to do the movie for the Batman movie. He's like, it almost destroyed my whole audition for it. He goes, I hadn't been, no one had approached me at that point. It was barely a thing. Like, it was kind of somewhat in the works, but it wasn't like anything real. Like, he had a whole thing about how like it wasn't good for his whole process of doing it. And there's a bunch of actors who talk about that, and that's why they keep these things. They try to keep what they're doing so under wraps as far as what choices they're making on certain things. Because and same thing with the studios on who they're picking, because it can sway an actor's decision big time on this stuff, and it screws them up, and it's really detrimental to everything. There's the thing, I guarantee you there are movies that have not been made, casting choices that have not been made because of these fucking people. Guarantee you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Guarantee you. Guarantee you. If Robert Pattinson's saying that about Batman and how it almost screwed him up, and I'm pretty sure it was him, may have been someone else, but it was one of those people. But like I said, I'm pretty sure it was Pattinson. There has to be others. There has to be other actors. And I know for a fact other actors came out and said, well, I didn't want to do it because of this, or because there was fan outrage, because of there was rumors that I might have been doing it and we were barely in talks of it. So I said, you know what? This isn't even worth it to me. I don't want to do this movie now. And it's like, now we're missing out on, we could be missing out on these great choices and great movies, because sometimes it doesn't always work out the way we want it to. You know what I mean? As far as like the end product, or that just doesn't come to fruition. You know, it's really shitty. And this is why I hate these sites. This is kind of why we're doing this thing. It's because it's so shitty.
I mean, I do it mainly to get a reaction out of you.
That's true.
Because I could sit here this entire time and not say a word, and he would still be ranting about it.
That's true.
But that's part of the fun for me. That's why I like to do it.
Oh, God. So anyway, yeah. It's just a non-news story. I mean, it's something that we already know. It's fabricated news. It's just like the National Treasure story that we did last week. It's completely fabricated. Like, it's news, but it's not real news.
Here's what I'm going to say about this article
and
this picture.
Yeah.
If I was working for one of these sites.
Mm-hmm.
Picture from Willow back in the day has spoilers to what we're going to see in the new upcoming Captain America movie.
Oh my god.
Because his shirt resembles the American flag on his shield. Look at it right there. once this gets greenlit, you are going to see so many stories of well, what are they going to do with, or when the story comes out, they're going to be like, well, this is going to foreshadow this in the story and blah, 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 from the fucking Willow movie from 30 years ago that most people have never seen.
Yeah, the majority of people, I mean, it has a fucking cult following. Yeah, I've never seen
Willow. It's an
Willow.
amazing movie.
I'm weird. But it's like the fucking Dark Crystal. Honestly. That's another one. I've never seen the original Dark Crystal series. I've never admitted that I've never seen that show, because I get so terrified of people who do watch it, have seen that show,
they're coming after you,
they're
a Radiohead fan.
They're a fucking Radiohead fan. Exactly, because they get so, what the fuck, you haven't seen, like, I'm sorry, like
a Kurt Cobain fan,
like
coming at you.
So like, because people like, I've had girls and both guys who are like, yeah, but like, I don't tell people I've never seen a Star Wars movie, blah 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 blah, and like, okay, I get why people are mad you've never seen a Star Wars movie. That's something that's like trying to say you've never seen Home Alone. Like, that's such a huge, popular, you know, truly like American movie.
It's more like disbelief. Like, some people do get mad at it.
Oh, I get mad at it. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, disbelief. I get, you know, whatever. But like Willow or like Dark Crystal, like, those are such niche stuff that like.
Are you kidding? You have not seen the Nick Fury movie with the Hoff?
I think
you are a piece of shit if you have never seen that fucking movie. Fuck you, John. Fuck you. That's even that's what you're saying. Like, you get mad at people.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Like,
but it's like, that's such a small movie that nobody's seen or even knows that existed. You're like, oh, Dolph Lundgren did The Punisher. Like, if you're not a nerd, you didn't know that.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I guess it's kind of similar. It would be kind of similar to someone saying like, oh, they haven't seen Clerks, but like, I can understand why someone hasn't seen Clerks. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
if you're not from New Jersey or you're into film,
yeah, like, if
I don't foresee like a 13-year-old in Minnesota being like, Clerks, man.
I mean, they're out there, but
sure
it's
they
a
are.
Very specific thing. Like, you have to, you know, Kevin Smith fans it's kind of word of mouth, and like, it's kind of, you know, that's kind of how it was because he was an indie filmmaker. So like,
yeah, I remember I was in 8th grade and someone was like, you haven't seen Mallrats or Clerks? You don't know what that is? And I was like, I don't. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm in 8th grade. This is the year 2000. Excuse me.
Exactly. So like, I get that, but like, I don't get what, like, people are like, oh, you never seen Willow? Like, I'm so afraid, especially with Dark Crystal. Dark Crystal, I never tell anyone. Now I've told whoever's watching this.
All three people.
But I've never, but like, ugh, whatever. Anyway, sorry.
Next news article.
Totally. Next news article. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, let's go on. This one actually was a pretty good one. This one I want to give props to John Atkinson. Let's see if they give a picture of Mr. Atkinson here or just all his stuff.
What date? When was it? What's today's date? Today's the 20th, so this was published today.
This was actually published earlier today. And I don't know if this is his... Let's see. No, he doesn't have a picture of himself. Good on you for not putting a picture that we can make fun of. Sorry, man.
Even though you just said that you want to say, like, you did a good job. This is facetious, but good thing you didn't put a picture up because I still would have made fun of you.
So this one, we thought this article was going to be complete bullshit, and we might. I don't know if we're going to end on this or not. I forget. Basically,
it took me a few minutes to realize that was Stephen Amell's face right there.
Right?
Because that looks so weird. He looks more like Batfleck.
Yeah, he looks like Affleck. At first, I thought I was like, oh no, wait, it's them. So this one we thought was a complete bullshit article. We pulled it up. We're like, fuck this. So as the headline says, Crisis on Infinite Earths solve DC movies continuity problem. And this is actually something that I thought about when we've been talking about Crisis and the whole when we talked about it last week or the week before or whatever with the Flash, Ezra Miller's Flash showing up in the Crisis event. And most of the article, it's a very long article. This guy, they probably pay you by the word on here, so he decided to make a very long article. Just goes through the background of the movies and Justice League did shitty. Like it just goes through, and then finally, about see how far it gets down before we had to get to it. So it solves the issue, and it seems pretty obvious, but. One thing this confirmed, because up until this point, the DCEU and the Arrowverse were completely separated, and that's how they've said it. It's definitively they are separate things. They will not cross over.
They'll never take anyone from the TV and put them on the big screen.
Completely separate continuities. Having Ezra Miller in the show puts it within the same continuity.
They flipped it.
Correct. So. What this means and what this article
like when
goes
they took Sif from Thor and put her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., except we already knew that they were in the same continuity.
Right, and that's the only one, and that's the only show that's in the same continuity. They said they're going to be starting with the Disney Plus shows. They're like that's
because they're using the actors from the movies. Yeah,
they're like actually putting it because even like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like it's in the continuity, kind of,
and they only
just like the Netflix shows
bit in the beginning.
They're in the continuity, kind of like. So, which, by the way, another thing, Avengers Endgame fixed all of the Netflix shit, so Netflix doesn't have to be in the Disney continuity anymore.
Yeah, but they still have to wait 6 years, don't they? To use the characters. Which isn't that long because it's already been a year.
Yeah, but they can get around that now anyway. But so same thing with this. So since if you haven't watched the Crisis event. Do so. It was good. It was fun. Basically, similar thing happened to the actual comic. If you've read the comic books, all the Earths wind up being destroyed. Instead of doing one Earth, though, they did bring back other Earths. But they did meld Black Lightning's universe, and Supergirl, and the rest of the Arrowverse. Together, and then there's then you have the other Earths now still. Yeah,
and they showed us that Titans and Doom Patrol, even though they're both DC EU streaming service shows, but they're different Earths. They're not.
They made that definitive. They definitively said that because we were questioning that for a while. And I guess when they talked about that initially, they had said that like. They're treating them separately. Technically, though,
the characters can interlap shows, but the two shows themselves are separate.
Right. So there's that.
But that's not what we're talking about, though. We're talking about the movies being rewritten.
Right. So basically, what they can do now is they can get rid of Justice League, Batman v Superman, and Man of Steel.
Technically Aquaman.
But they're keeping Aquaman.
I'm just saying.
Has a sequel coming up. It's moving forward. All that stuff is good. So you have all of those that basically the whole continuity gets rewritten. You can disregard those now. You can continue with your Justice League that you want to do. You can continue with whatever. It's actually was a really smart idea for them to do this Crisis thing and do it that way and get Ezra Miller to do it. I do wish that Miller was in it more. Like I said, they didn't use him enough. But I mean, good on this dude for pointing that out. And this is actually, I was actually happy with this article, even though it's like a theory article. I'm actually very happy with you, John Atkins, and I'm not going to shit on you. You're doing a good job there. Actually doing some actual writing and, opinion slash.
It's a real article, basically. Yeah, it's not just I took a link from someone else's article that had a quote from someone else's article and then patched it together to have 3 sentences of your own writing in it.
Right.
So
and you seem pretty impressive because that's not the only article you put out today. Let's see. Let's see if he can continue the trend. Because now he's got DC Universe, Titans, Crisis on Infinite Earths cameo explained. Let's see what he's got here. Because this came out yesterday. He did this yesterday. Blah, 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 blah. Oliver Queen. Let's see if he can keep it up. Despite the fact that Titan served as an introduction to Doom Patrol, the brief blah, blah, blah. What means the future, however, remains speculation. While many would love to see characters from Titans, the official appearance, it was, what are we talking about? Hold on. Characters from Titan had been featured briefly on the Arrowverse, blah, blah, blah. Once again, no glimpses of comprised new footage. Each of the shots came directly, blah, blah, blah.
So he's basically saying is because they put Ezra Miller's character in the Flash, it's not impossible at this point with how they've created the Earths that this Flash or this Arrowverse can't ever cross paths with Titans, with Stargirl.
Right.
We already knew that they could cross paths with Stargirl because of the whole
so it's the same. It's
Legends.
the same play on. It's the same play on the other article. So not as impressive, buddy. It's a similar theory. It's nothing too crazy, but you seem, and you're doing the same thing. Okay. So all right, man.
Okay, so now you're gonna shit on him. What is he saying about Swamp Thing though?
The same thing.
I know, but
same thing. It's the same
But you know
thing.
that Swamp Thing for me is the important one because that was the best show they've made so far, and it's never coming back.
Yeah, okay. Now you've lost me, bud. I'm sorry. You
shouldn't. You looked too far.
I dug too deep. I should have stopped with the first article instead of trying to continue to go down that path and see if he was any good or not. And you disappointed me, John Atkinson. You disappointed me. Well, I tried to end on a good note.
Yeah, it'll happen.
But
I do like the idea that now we know for certain with how they did Crisis that whether or not they will ever do it, it's very unlikely, but we know that it's now possible for Titans, Doom Patrol, the Arrowverse, Swamp Thing, all of them, they could intermingle whenever they want because they've taken the amount of Earths and condensed them.
You know what else is also possible?
Chicken pot pie.
No.
Oh.
What also is possible, and this will be good. So
don't you dare say Tom Welling in a Superman outfit.
No. They can move 2 characters over to the Titans universe very easily. They can 100% bring Roy and Wally over into
Arsenal
Titans
and Wally.
That would be amazing because I'm pretty sure at the end of Crisis, Roy, or at some point, Roy goes missing. I thought. I may be wrong. I can't remember.
I don't remember Roy being a part of the Crisis whatsoever.
He wasn't.
Just that he's been back in the series.
Yeah, he's been back in Arrow, and I think he goes missing right before the Crisis. Maybe. I don't remember. Or like his future. But or in the future he like kind of just disappears. So it's
I
very
would
possible.
love to see him on Titans playing his version of Roy.
Yeah.
But the way that I know that as an actor, he could do.
Well, that's the thing too. You can
bring out his darkness and let him actually beat the fuck out of people.
Thinking. You could bring him over to that universe, and you can
beat the shit out of people.
You can really deal with the whole like
heroin.
Well, not even that. Just like him coming back to life and being a raging homicidal maniac, like that rage, and having him actually fucking doing something about whatever. Like he would fit so well in that universe now. And I think it would be actually kind of cool to bring Wally over there as well. Because why not? You're not doing anything. He's not. I haven't seen him on Legends.
No.
I haven't watched the new episode of the first season of Legends. So I don't know.
The first episode was the ending of Crisis.
Did he show up?
No. So, but
that's right. I saw that episode. Yeah, he didn't show up. So I didn't watch the new episode. I don't know if he's in the cast for this season or not.
But at the same time, I don't see his character really blending in as an actor and what he's done with the character so far. I don't really see him blending in. Roy, I can see.
Yeah.
I don't really see the Wally aspect of it. Plus, I never really thought he was that great of a Wally because he was such a.
I really hope
toned down.
I hope
character.
I honestly hope that if Titans does bring in Wally West, they bring in a redheaded Wally West. A white,
you need to see a ginger on the screen.
Ginger Wally West. They gotta bring him in.
Why not? I mean,
they're doing everything so accurately. Like, why not bring the actual? Like, I don't want to say the actual Wally West, but because he is Wally West. He is the actual Wally West. But like the original Wally West. Then, like, why not? You're doing everything so close to it. I mean, you brought fucking Aqualad in. Yeah, you didn't make him look exactly the same because he has this weird, black fro thing that was going on. But like whatever, like
I mean, in the Arrowverse, they also at the end in the credits and everything they showed Green Lantern stuff.
That was in that was a whole nother Earth. There was a Green Lantern Earth.
Yeah.
In one of the that's probably in reference to the HBO show.
Yeah.
Which they said. Did you find out? Did you hear about what they're doing with that? So I
purposely don't click on
that one. That one was like actual news. They came out with actual news about it that it's going to be following two stories. It's going to follow an Earth story and a space story. So it's going to follow two Green Lanterns on Earth. My guess is probably Hal Jordan and either Kyle Rayner or Jon Stewart. And then I don't think they haven't announced the two lanterns that they're doing. They just said fan favorites. So it's one of three.
So it's not going to be Guy Gardner.
Probably not.
So you're not going to get the ginger.
I don't really care. Guy Gardner would be cool if they bring him in. If they bring him in to do like a Red Lanterns thing.
They made that animated movie, The Fatal Five.
Yeah.
So it could even possibly go the route with what's her name?
Yeah, nah, they won't do her.
You never know though, because they
might.
That movie, that storyline isn't that large to me that I know of. So why would they have made that movie? And they've done very well with how they make their animated movies that they do end up tying in somewhat to what their production is going to be in the near future.
Yeah.
So,
but I think
possible.
that I might get. I'm gonna almost guarantee you they're gonna do Hal Jordan.
Well, of course
I don't think you do Hal Jordan. I think you do Hal Jordan. I think they do.
You're either doing Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, or I agree, Kyle Rayner or Hal Jordan. Yeah. But Hal Jordan is definitely going to be in it, unless they go for a whole 180 and say we don't want everyone to remember that Ryan Reynolds.
No, I think it would be too much of an issue if they don't put Hal Jordan in there.
Which they should have done that in Crisis, just the way that Deadpool did. How at the end of Deadpool 2. He went back and killed Ryan Reynolds from reading the script. They should have threw Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern in there just as well, just to be like, you know what, we can be funny too.
Well, you could also, even though we're saying it's alluding to the other thing, you could also say maybe that was the Green Lantern movie.
Yeah, maybe
that could have been. That could have been that universe.
What do you think?
Yeah, what do you guys think? Side note, I'm actually upset that we didn't see an alternate version of Diggle as Jon Stewart Green Lantern.
Yeah, I know you thought that was going to happen.
I was really upset that we didn't see some alternate version of it. I was really upset. They kept talking it up, and I mean I don't know because we may get to see it at some point because he's still in the world, and they're making this Arrow spinoff show. So
I like at the end he had 2 kids though. That was like one of those little sweeter moments. That
yeah,
everyone forgot.
Yeah,
that when Barry Allen went back in time.
Yeah, he changed it, so now he gets both of them.
Yes,
and that's
now
cool.
He's got 2 kids.
That's awesome. I also like the idea. I also like the fact that they did it where no one realizes what's happened
except for them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they fill everyone in on it.
Well, they fill the
main casts.
Yeah,
which is again, they did that in the comics as well. You know, and eventually they all forget about it, and not forget about it, but it's just like,
and that's the only reason they brought John Jones in as one of the what do they call them?
Pantheons.
Yeah, like the apostles, but not really apostles. As one of the main idols characters that they were. Yeah. Just so that he could bring everyone's mind in at the end, because he really didn't do anything other than remind them while they're in the Time Force, like,
right.
Oh, I'm here to remind you of who you are.
Yeah,
a pillar or something.
Yes, the pillar.
It's a pillar of hope or whatever.
Pillar of hope,
I don't know what they were really
all
called.
That stuff. Yeah,
but he's got a new outfit at the end. I like that, his new look.
I didn't even when he said it. I didn't even notice it. To be honest,
I noticed.
They said that, and I'm like, oh,
I like
look?
the new Laurel, the way that she looks. Although that wasn't because of Crisis, that was pre-Crisis.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, finally, she's got the blonde hair, but it's not long and clearly a wig.
Yeah.
I was like, it's short, it's cut. I was like, I can dig this. Now I actually kind of see you as a Black Canary.
Yeah.
I never saw Laurel as a Black Canary before.
Yeah.
But on that note, tell us what you think.
Tell us what you think. We're going to continue doing stuff like this. We might change it up between articles and other things. But, yeah, let us know down below. Follow us on all the social medias. I'm sure they're all linked down below. And see you guys later.
Yep.